All right, all right. A little impromptu for you, Balance Nation. Guess what day it is? Mike. It's hump day. What? Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. So, as you all know, you guys pose questions to me all the time, asking me my opinion on things. And what happens is you guys will send me a note, an email, or a private message, and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Or this person said this, and I will say, "Hey, well, I'll give you an answer," but then sometimes it requires a little more context, so I will make you a video. So this one's by request, and I want you guys to all understand that I'm going to cover a lot of stuff here today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so one of the things that's out there, guys, is this: is people want to help other people. They have a good heart. They learn something, and you want to go share the world with what your experience is with it, and that's super important. I mean, there's so many people that have been my patient and we've transformed their lives, and they decide, well, you know what, man, I feel so grateful. All I want to do is I want to take Balance Protocol to the world. So I'm like, well, in order to do that, you need to come and learn and train with me, because your training and your clinical prowess and understanding things through the patient encounter makes all the difference in the world. What you can't do is have a health experience that was related to, let's say, some type of therapy, some type of device, or some type of supplement that clearly gave benefit, and then go and say, well, hey, everybody, you need to take this because this is what it did for me and it'll do the same for you. It doesn't work like that. So to frame this up, I want to just give you a little disclosure first, and that is it's really important for you guys to understand that whenever I make these videos, I'm going to feature certain things that might be a little uncomfortable for folks because it's a critical eye. It's just like if I'm on the news and I'm giving my opinion or something, and it's going to be critical because I'm a very critical person, because that's what I do is I critically think. I want you guys to learn how to critically think. So on that note, what I'm going to briefly do is I'm going to pop up a disclosure for you, and I'm going to let you kind of read it, and then there, and then there, and then there. Okay, so disclosure is now added to the video. If ever you want to go back and read that, that's up to you. Okay, so that's my disclosure. The upshot is this: I'm going to be critical of a few things today. I'm going to show you an example. Okay, this is nothing personal. This is not designed to give somebody a hard time. I'm just giving you an example of something that happens out there. And I've seen it already happen here in Balance Nation, right? So people will come and they'll learn from me and they'll go, man, that's amazing. And they go and basically co-op my material, my vernacular, and then go out there and share that with other people. Unfortunately, you can learn a lot in Balance Nation. Unfortunately, you can. Enough to be dangerous. But it doesn't give you the context to help other people. And I really caution anyone to take anything that you learn from here and go out and become dogmatic about it, because we see that all over the place. And then today, I'm going to give you a very poignant example of that. Okay. So the upshot is this. So somebody asked me about what I thought about a particular water system out there. So as you know, I've been in the environmental shtick for a long time. That's just one part, right? So we know per Balance Protocol is 2358, and if you don't know what that is, then it's really simple. All you got to do is head over to programs.balanceprotocol.com and sign up for the free Balance Protocol Prime program, and it'll break down for you what the basis is when I start talking about things like that. Okay, so one of the systems within key number 1 of the environmental inputs per Balance Protocol is, of course, water. So we talk about air, water, light, sound, EMF, and food. And unless somebody is, come into the fold, I only know that I'm the only one on the planet who's ever talked about all of those things. Sometimes you'll see certain people like water, light, and magnetism. Well, what about electricity? And what about sound? And what about stuff? And then those people will say, well, you don't have to do anything with, Anyways, you know who those people are. So anyways, one of the things is somebody brought to my attention, okay, this particular product, if you will, and I'm going to share it with you here real quick so you can kind of see what's going on when it comes to the product that I'm referring to. Okay, Pristine Hydro. Okay, so this is a water system. It's a company out of California, and I believe they are actually in Laguna Woods, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a really hoity-toity, fancy, fruity biscuit kind of place out in California. Stayed at a hotel one time there called the Monarch, and real high-end hotel, but just the bed was terrible, and I pulled back the sheets and there's a big old menses spot there. They just put the pad on top of it, but don't get me started on that. But anyways, Laguna Woods. So Pristine Hydro, so what their claim is, okay, is that it is, you don't want to drink tap water, okay? The narrative is it's acidic and chemically treated, lifeless water that contains many contaminants. Then they talk about bottled water and how it's unregulated, water ionizers, reverse osmosis, and so forth and so on, right? So where I came into this particular product, okay, was really across a how would I say? In other words, it was a cross discussion about a particular gentleman out there on the info space called Matt Blackburn. You guys have probably seen him. Puts out content, does a thing, podcasts and whatever. He claims to be a health and longevity researcher. And what he does is he, of course, recommends a whole bunch of products. I'm going to get to that here in just a second. But the thing about it is one of his big things is this Pristine Hydro system. Okay. Well, the thing is so somebody asked me, because he recommends it, to evaluate it for them. And so what I want to do is just kind of give you guys a little idea on what I'm talking about. Now, all of this is the kind of things that I get asked about all the time, but you get to learn about it if you head over to programs.balanceprotocol.com. Shameless plugs here. And take the Enviro course. I cover water extensively and the systems and the things that they use, okay? But one of the things I wanted to get into here is the narratives, okay? So in other words, they're going to say stuff like high alkaline pH. Now, first of all, that's not always a good thing. It's not. That narrative has been pervasive for my entire quarter-of-a-century career, that somehow alkaline is better and we're supposed to be alkaline and drink a bunch of alkaline water, and that's just not true, okay? So the thing about it is be mindful of that. So this system says reverse osmosis membranes end up in the product water that you drink. Ionizers remove acids by disrupting the water with electrolysis. That's true. And also removes the beneficial silicic acid. Okay. But here's what's funny. They claim that they remove harmful acids while allowing silicic acid to pass through. Well, I don't buy that for a minute because the size of that particle is the same as the other things that it's removing. So more on that in just a second. It says it sets a new standard for alkaline water. So they're taking the alkaline narrative out there, taking it away from the Kagans and the ionizers and all the other kind of fun stuff, and saying, hey, listen, this is the system to do it, okay? So properly remineralized, that's true. But here's the thing. I can go through this a whole bunch, because whenever I get asked about something, guys, what I do is I do my due diligence. I go and I double check if I haven't already done it before, and I look into the company or the person. So my comments are really only to the facts. This is why everything I share with you is always my pure opinion, right? And I always ask you to do your due diligence. I show you where I've got my information and the basis of my opinion, so you guys can go and look it up yourself, okay? So this is pristinehydro.com if you want to go look them up, okay? And somebody asked me about this one time before. They got a portable system here. And then what they do is then they sell these little packets of electrolytes. Now, the thing that really cracks me up about these guys is up in their science area, how does their unique process work, okay? So it's a stage 1 5 micron. That's actually huge, by the way. That just gets rid of bigger particles. 5 microns is actually massive. Stage 2 and 3 is KDF and carbon. I talk about all that stuff in the Balance Protocol Enviro course, and that's in Module 4. But anyways, high efficiency reverse osmosis, which is what you want to do. Okay, I mean, if you're ever going to be serious about drinking water, you shouldn't buy water. You should make your own at home, and your system should include an RO system. Okay. Then they talk about ionization. So these are just various resins that exchange cations and anions to remove heavy metals. Then you do want to remineralize it, right? And then you can adjust, with carbon, some of the flavor profiles and stuff that come from chlorine and stuff like that. Then they say that stage 9 and 10 are restructuring and recharging. Well, this right here, I just don't buy into, okay? So the final stage is run over lodestones and quartz crystals, stimulating properties of a live stream. That's not true. You can't just run them over that stuff. In the water module, I cover this, and I talk to you about the platonic solids, and I show you actually how to make your own water structuring device, which I created, and it's on the open space. So no patent, no trademark, or anything like that. So if ever you make one and you show the world, make sure you do the right thing and give credit where credit's due, okay? Don't claim it. All right, so here's their narrative, okay? They're talking about things like primary alkaline minerals that originate from water form are calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium bicarbonate, electrolyte salts, okay? And they are saying that alkaline water has become the latest marketing buzzword for bottled water, and it's true. I mean, everybody's got suckered into that. I can't believe people are still buying bottled water. It blows my mind, okay? Says our filtration process first eliminates contaminants and harmful acids like acid rain. Now, this is where one of my second or third red flags went off, okay? The term acid rain is, of course, referring to what happens to all the pollutants from cars and industry and stuff like that, all that byproduct of gases and the stuff that actually really is toxic to the environment, not CO2 and global warming. But anyways, it's the toxins from the burning of fuels. They're not fossil fuels. That's another misnomer. Oil and stuff like that they've never found a single fossil in any oil or any coal or anything like that. That's a misnomer, the fossil fuel term. Just so you guys, I don't know if you ever knew that, but for lack of a better term, and everybody calls them fossil fuels, I will just tell you I'm referring to fossil fuels, but they're not fossils. Anyways, when you burn those things, you put them into the air, it rains, and that makes acid rain. Well, here's the thing. This system is not filtering acid rain. So why they're saying that is beyond me. What you're doing is you're filtering municipal water, not acid rain. So when they say that kind of stuff, that's a marketing hook, okay? That's to kind of go, oh, acid rain. Well, guess what? You're not, unless you hook this system up to a rain barrel, which you can't because there's no pressure, unless you create a pressurized unit, which is expensive and cumbersome. It's not doing that. So that's not true. So that's the first falsehood that drives me nuts. The next thing is the magnesium bicarbonate discussion. So now we start, a company comes out with a magnesium bicarbonate hook. This is a marketing shtick. Okay. Now, I love magnesium bicarbonate. It's not the end all to big end all. Okay. There are other magnesiums, contrary to popular belief, that they're going to put down, and I'm going to talk to you more about that here in just a second. But what I'm doing here, stay with me, is because I'm building the case from Dr. AGB/Balanced Protocols point of view, so you guys can learn to critically think and do the same thing, because I don't want you to just believe me. I want you to challenge what I'm saying on your own and go and look it up and see and check my math. That's all I'm saying, okay? So the thing is the deal is that magnesium bicarbonate, okay, it says it's a complex only found in liquid form, and that's true, okay? It's naturally present in pristine drinking water. That is true, okay? Okay, it's not found in any food, okay? That's not necessarily true. And it's impossible to get magnesium bicarbonate through eating food. I wouldn't say impossible, but we'll give them that. But then now they go to magnesium improves overall health. It sure can. See, there's a big difference, guys, between can and may versus will and does. Okay? So what happens is these people and the people who follow them and regurgitate their information to hold themselves out as an expert, like Mac Blackburn, the thing is they don't go and check the science and back it up. They posture like they do. And I think they do because they Google search stuff, and then that somehow makes them feel good about doing it and saying what they're saying. But it's just unfortunately that they just don't understand the true biology of physics and stuff because they're not clinicians. So anyways, Magnesium removes toxins. Sufficient magnesium levels lead to safer detoxification and chelation in the bonding of ions and so forth and so on. In fact, that makes chelation possible, okay? That's not true. Contextually, it's not a correct statement. But relatively speaking, it's a correct statement. There's context there, and I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff. But in other words, so does zinc, so does copper, so does selenium, and all kinds of other stuff, right? But we got to promote something that we want to sell, right? Okay, so needless to say, magnesium is extremely important for the body to function optimally. I agree. But you can't presuppose that you need to take more magnesium in the form of a product that a company sells. Who tells you that in order to be healthy? That's the problem that happens here, okay? So then it goes on to talk about magnesium bicarbonate is absorbed with water into the bloodstream through the small intestine. Man-made magnesium compounds do not naturally address a deficiency. That's not true. Metal magnesium supplements are not properly absorbed and utilized by the body and will end up in the toilet, okay? So will magnesium bicarbonate, okay? It absolutely can. When you take in magnesium carbonate, okay, your body disassociates the magnesium from the carbonate. Just like if you take table salt, sodium chloride, put it into water, take it into the body will disassociate the molecules, okay? That's how it works. So it's not a matter of a form that is more absorbable. That's not true, okay? Because just because something is absorbable does not make it better, okay? Because you swallow something, goes in the mouth, goes down the tube, into the stomach, and all the absorption starts happening as soon as it hits the mouth, but then into the intestines and it goes in. Now it's in circulation. It's been absorbed. So most everybody's like, oh, it's faster absorbed. It's more absorbed. That makes no difference. Now it's got to be processed. It has to be assimilated. It has to be tuned to you and harmonized to the body's resonant frequency and then put into the tissues, which therefore makes it go to the cells and then to the organelles. So it's an arduous journey of substances. So don't ever get stuck on absorbability is my point, okay? So keeping on with this here, I'm just kind of sharing the narrative. So then you can always spot these because they have these infographics, okay? So magnesium deficiency can lead to confusion, headaches, dizziness, persistent eye twitch, nervousness, and jumpiness. Yep, so can a zinc deficiency. So can a molybdenum deficiency. So can a B12 deficiency. So can a taurine deficiency. So you see these guys, this is all the stuff that just cracks me up. So people go, oh, well, I got poor digestion, and I've got PMS, and I've got muscle cramps, so I must have to take magnesium. So they'll go and they'll buy some magnesium, okay? So what ends up happening here is you've got this company that is selling a water system, okay, that talks about magnesium bicarbonate. But guess what? The system doesn't put the bicarbonate into it, okay? So that's the interesting thing about this, okay? What they do is they get into a narrative, okay, that is all these things that we just talked about, right? Saying all the good things about magnesium bicarbonate and then bad things about the 10 other types of magnesium being pawned off to the uninformed public as nutritional supplements, which is exactly what this company is doing, in my opinion. Potassium chloride is being pawned off as a bioavailable form of magnesium. Magnesium chloride. Okay, so sidebar. Each of the magnesiums, the last name of them, there's a lot of different names, okay? Magnesium bicarbonate, magnesium chloride, taurate, orotate, sulfate, there's all kinds. The last name does have a lot to do with the mechanism of action on the body, okay? So the upshot here is you can't go evaluating each of those different magnesiums with a different last name based upon their absorption. And don't be using the word bioavailable. That's a crock of crap. That's a smoke and mirrors. It's a term that's always used by uneducated, uninformed, non-contextually giving narrative people. That's what happens there, okay? So then they begin to narrate and talk about buying isolated magnesium chloride. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'll ask you one question. Do you want magnesium or chloride? We are already exposed to excess isolated chloride in many foods we consume. Okay. Celery, loaded with chloride. Lettuce, loaded with chloride. All kinds of plants are loaded with chloride. So don't be, they're not given the proper context here, okay? So the next thing is they talk about this magnesium chloride you put on your skin causes a burning pain, and you feel a heavy tingling sensation. That is a clear warning of chloride poisoning. No, it's not, okay? Now listen, truth be told, I have a product called Magderm. But anyways, I'm not here to tell about that. So it's a magnesium chloride, okay? It has its place. But I have the clinical intellectual integrity to tell people that sometimes it's contraindicated. It's not necessary. You shouldn't use it. Depends upon the fatty acid composition of your cell membranes, okay? So there are times when magnesium chloride can be very beneficial, and all the times where it can be actually detrimental. The key is to understand where you lie in that continuum. So the thing about it is it's, again, contextual, and people don't like that. Guys that I'm going to talk about here in just a second, like Matt Blackburn, they don't like context because they like their special form of crazy, and they want to tell everybody to listen to how they're telling everybody to do it in the absence of any context of view. It's the number one, cardinal sin as far as I'm concerned on the info space. All right. So anyways, magnesium bicarbonate is what they're featuring, okay? That's the take home here. So then what happens is they talk about their system, and you've got all these different steps to it, okay? And again, we've got the acid rain narrative, which is really stupid and intellectual dishonesty as far as I'm concerned, because no one's running acid rain through this. This is only built for a municipal system. Lodestones and quartz crystals don't recharge and reprogram your water naturally necessarily, okay? Because guess what? Just like in a living stream, you don't have all those in living streams. That's a big phony baloney, not whatever. One of the things I do like about this system is it's got this pump, because you got to run it through all of these things. You now have to put a pump to boost the water pressure to be able to make it go through to things. That's also a strike against it as far as I'm concerned for a lot of people, because now you got to run power to this pump to your water system, okay? So it talks about what it does. And see here, water feed, potable, municipal water, which doesn't have acid rain in it, okay? So this is their own standards and stuff like that, okay? So then they offer a sample result, which is really nice, certificate of analysis. I don't like this company, Wake Labs. I think they got bad reviews, and that's another step. Thing. Anyways, but so this company, I don't know the company or the owners, anything like that in Laguna Woods. I'm just going on data and opinion. But here's the water actual results that they sent off. It's good that they're actually doing with the EPA 200 standards, which is the correct thing. But here's what's interesting. You only have 1.71 milligrams per liter, okay? Holy crap, that's nothing. So this system is misinforming people, making them think that it's actually adding magnesium, and it's not, okay? That was the thing. Same thing for silica, okay? Bloop, very little. All right, so the upshot is it doesn't have any of the other bad stuff in it, which is really easy to do with this type of system. There's nothing proprietary or wonderful to their particular system. Now, their narrative is the whole thing. This is where the hook comes into play. You need to understand everything is based upon the pancreas. And so they give us all this stuff about body chemistry. A lot of it is correct because they just copied and pasted it from different places I found on the internet, but that's my opinion. Anyways, it starts this whole narrative of increasing production of things and talk about metabolic acidosis and all these different chemistry stuff. But again, this is all smoke and mirrors, all right? The upshot is that there's a lot of good information in here that's true, okay? But here's the thing. The Pristine Hydro solution has nothing to do with the machine that they're selling, okay? That's the funny thing about this. And then they even offer this electrolyte balance saliva pH acid challenge test with the lemon and water stuff. This is bullshit, okay? It reminds me of the people who also do the whole, if you want to check for candida, what you do is you get a glass and you spit in it and you let it sit, and if it's got these little tentacles, that's yeast. That's not true either, okay? That's unfolding proteins that are actually in the, anyways. And it's even worse if you brush your teeth. Don't use any toothpaste or anything. Like just brush your teeth real hard and stuff and get a whole bunch of that on loose, spit in the water, and you'll make a whole bunch of it. Okay? So the bottom line here is this. The upshot is one of the other hallmarks of the misdirection and things like that, and these little marketing hooks, is to always have some kind of little test, some kind of little up close magic trick, like the salivary pH test that they're offering here, which is bogus. This is not going to tell you anything about your body's pH balance and things like that because it's not contextual, okay? Salivary readings do give us clues, but you got to learn how to do that with a properly trained balanced protocol practitioner. Okay, so anyway, so then what they do is, okay, is they will then now sell electrolyte balance, oh man, they're using my word, powder, okay? So the thing is with that, all right, is I just want to kind of let you know something, all right? And that is you can do what they're doing here, okay? You can take these powders and put them into water and create a very beneficial, potentially good for you water, okay? And guess what? I teach you how to do all that on your own in Balanced Protocol Enviro's water module, okay? So I'm not opposed to this. I just want to give you clarity of something here that's really important. And that is, if you look at the ingredients, this is a powder, okay, in a bucket, okay? All they do, okay, and it's magnesium bicarbonate with silica. Well, they can get in trouble with the FDA on that, okay? And let me tell you why. Because it is not magnesium bicarbonate in that bucket. Remember, they just said it. You can't have it in powder form. That's true. It's in liquid form. So why is it on a label that they're saying that you have that? Well, it's a chemistry lesson, right? So they take calcium hydroxide, which is hydrated lime, not with an I, but not a green little citrus. It's lime. It's very alkaline, okay? You get that stuff in your eyeballs or on something when your skin and it's wet, you're going to burn your skin, okay? Magnesium hydroxide, okay? So what they have here is magnesium hydroxide, right? Then a potassium bicarbonate and baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, okay? So what they say to do, okay, is, again, to understand the use of magnesium bicarbonate begins with understanding the pancreas. That's not true, but anyways. It says electrolyte balance is predominantly magnesium bicarbonate and silica. See, that's a false claim. It's not magnesium bicarbonate at all. It's actually magnesium hydroxide. And I believe the big mistake that's going to happen here, if it's not happening already for people, is they're taking this powder and putting it in water and assuming that it's actually giving them magnesium bicarbonate. They don't realize that there is a chemistry that has to occur in order for that to occur, okay? So I will tell you this, okay? There's some other stuff in here, but they give you the directions, okay? You add 1 to 2 teaspoons in 32 ounces of chilled carbonated pristine hydro water, okay? So it has to be carbonated. The reason is because you have to put enough carbonic acid into the water in order for it to react to the hydroxides to convert them to bicarbonates. Okay, it's a chemistry. So I've been teaching that for the longest time, and finally I'm seeing other people out there on the internet, literally like 20 years ago. So here's the deal. So they show that, okay, which is cool. Now here's what's interesting, okay? They tell you to do it and shake it, so this is relatively correct on the instructions, but again, it's only magnesium bicarbonate if you make it that. You just can't add it to water. And now here's the other thing. When you take a look at this kind of stuff, okay, what you'll see here is drinking 1 to 2 ounces before bedtime may aid with heartburn and so forth and so on. I mean, don't throw that in there. It also might actually cause heartburn too, okay, because it's just all about, different things. The silica, that's another thing. It's very beneficial potentially for everybody. But here's the thing, okay? So they offer it in the powder, okay? So you've got the powder, big old bucket for $90, okay? Let me show you something, okay? one of the things I like to do is have people understand that you don't have to pay big money for these kind of things, okay? And when it comes down to it, there's a difference here of being an advocate for different things, which I am, and stuff that's kind of like convenient and so forth. But the upshot is you can make your own magnesium bicarbonate. So instead of paying $90 for 90 servings, okay, $1 a serving, right? $1 a serving. Yikes. Okay. You just make it for a nickel a serving, 5 cents. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, all you got to do, and I go over this in the Enviro thing, but I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. Okay. Is you buy magnesium hydroxide powder. Okay. And if you take a look at it, you'll see that with just a 1/4 teaspoon, okay, of the powder, okay, you're getting 1,000 milligrams of magnesium in there. So anyways, the point is, I'm a capitalist. Everybody knows that. I'm not opposed to people selling products. I sell products. But it's the marketing. It's the narrative. It's the things like that, doing a thing. So you have no business spending $90 on that. Now, but what about the silica? I get that. So you can make your own with that too. Okay. So upshot is technically per serving should probably cost you about 10 to 12, 15 cents because you got to buy a soda stream machine to put the thing in and make carbonated water because you can't use carbonated water like Pellegrino and things like that all the time. It just depends. Altitude, temperature of the water, different things like that. And because if you put magnesium hydroxide into not enough carbonic acid, it's not going to always disassociate and become magnesium bicarbonate. You're going to have a whole bunch of magnesium hydroxide in there, also known as milk of magnesia, and it's going to make your bowels loose. Okay, so buyer beware on that. So upshot is there's more context to it. Okay, so let's keep going here because this is a big topic to cover of what I'm trying to get to. All right. So the upshot, as I say, it's my word, okay, is that there's narratives being created, okay, by companies like Pristine Hydro, and they have, of course, affiliate programs, okay? So that's okay. So you can see down here, you can become an affiliate. I have this too. Guess what, everybody? The affiliate program for Balanced Protocol programs is rolling out. So I'll be giving you guys an opportunity to participate in that too. Why? Because we want to do business and we want you guys to do word of mouth advertising for it. And you, of course, you want to make some financial gain from it. So that's great. So I'm not opposed to that. But the problem is most of these self-proclaimed experts and biohackers are a byproduct of watching people like myself or other clinicians or different people out there, and they take a little shtick and they want to go tell everybody, and then they start posturing themselves out as that. One of the other mechanisms is to create a podcast and interview a whole bunch of experts. I'm on podcasts all the time. I was on one yesterday. I'm very selective of who I'm on because I want to make sure they're legit. But the point is, so the mechanism is to show everybody, look at all these experts that are coming on my podcast. Therefore, I'm now, by virtue of having them on my show, an expert, so now come and buy the stuff for me. That's what that mechanism is, okay? So there are groups out there that teach you guys how to do that. So if you want to do that, knock yourself out, okay? I'm actually going to show you on today's call, I'm going to show you how you can actually do all this on your own. So I'm going to say, hey, listen, if you want to do what I'm being critical of today, I'm going to show you how to do it. Easy pecheesy. Okay, so another upshot is that's what it is. Now, the reason why I'm not a fan of this, another reason why it's a decent system. I mean, I would drink water out of this system, okay? But the problem is the price. I mean, good Lord, $2,000, okay? $2,000 for this system that you can actually do with what I recommend. And again, I have an affiliate link, but I've never got a check from them. Okay, it's a discount code that you guys can use if you follow my link. It's actually in the thing, but I don't promote it and do content or blogs about it. Is I actually use Aquasana. Okay, so you can see what kind of discount when you use my link, right? So for $200, you can get an amazing system, right? That does the same thing. Okay, look at there. It's RO, it's activated carbon, it's catalytic carbon, it's KDF, it's ion exchange, it's microfiltration, everything like that. But here's and remineralization. But here's the deal. I like to remineralize mine a little bit more than this system does, but it's an NSF system, and that's the certification that you're looking for, okay? So if it doesn't have that, you should look for that, okay? Now, the reason why that is because NSF has standards, okay? They have some standards, and you can go to nsf.org and look them up. Okay, I cover this stuff, of course, in the water module again. So these are the different NSF standards that the industry does when it comes to systems and how they remove contaminants. Okay, so you should know that. Okay, that's really super important. You can also go to the EPA.gov, and you can get all kinds of education on, and you can print down these PDFs. You can see this little URL right here. If everyone do that in the video, I'm not going to put the link in there. It's easy to find. In other words, educate yourself on what these standards are. I'm a big fan of telling people how to do that. Then you can also go to accustandard.com, and you can get information on the testing of the end product waters using the EPA 200 series. Okay, so there's basically ways that you can learn how to, or learn, not how to, learn what standards systems need in order to perform, and then also what lab standards to test their performance. Now, the company that I like to use to send off water samples to is called National Testing Laboratories, okay? And as you can see here, they use all those EPA standards to test all that stuff in there. But I will tell you, guess what? In order to test your water, it'll cost you about $250. Which is more than if you bought the system I just recommended to you, okay? Then the other reason why I like Aquasana in particular is because it's not only price, it's the stability of the unit, the ease of installation. Doesn't need an electrical supply to run a pump because you're not trying to push it through all these whistles and bells and presupposition of stuff. The other thing is service. Their customer service is phenomenal. They stand by their products. And the other thing is the cost of replacing filters, okay? So the thing with that is when I evaluate a company, I'm looking at all kind of contextual items. To get replacement filters for this Pristine Hydro will cost you $300 every time you need to change it. So it's way too expensive, it's cost prohibitive. There's other units even on Amazon that you can get that are far less expensive, that are every bit as this. And quite frankly, this company here, as best as I can tell, does not manufacture their own product, okay? So the bottom line is they're a store out in California, and I could be wrong, you know, don't quote me on this. But the thing is you can go on, and anybody can go and create their own systems. Why doesn't Balance Protocol or my product line Helion or myself have a water system? Because I can't compete with the price. I don't have the buying power, and I don't want to get in the business of selling RO systems right now, okay? There is some technology that I've been working on for years that can make things better, but man, it just costs tens of thousands of dollars, right? So the upshot is I don't think that these people are actually making their own units, okay? They're basically private labeling it, sticking their name on it, and that kind of fun stuff. I could be wrong. They could be actually making their filters, because all that material, the carbon, the KDF, the little mineral pearls and stuff like that, you can go to Alibaba.com and you can buy it all by the kilos. And you can make it, but it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. They're not just going to send you a little bit, right? So if you want to make your own filters and alkalizers and stuff like that, you can do that. Actually, I was going to show you guys how to do it on a video in the Enviro course, but it's really cost prohibitive. It's just better to just go ahead and buy units that are done. So again, I'm not busting on Pristine Hydro's ability to do what it does. It's a great unit. It's just way overpriced. The cost to upkeep, way too prohibitive, and the narratives that they give as their marketing shtick and spiel are incorrect. They're misdirection, they're misinformation, and I just don't think it's fair to make those particular statements. Okay, so at the end of the day, this unit is far too expensive. It's 10 times what you should pay. Okay, if you want a nice unit, you can do it, and you don't mind paying 10 times, knock yourself out. There's nothing better than anything like that. Then you can buy their little sticks. So again, $1 per, or roundabouts for this little stuff. It's the same thing, mag hydroxide. So you can buy it in the little sticks, right? Or you can buy it in the bulk powder. But again, you still have to put it into water. Now, here's what's interesting. 1 liter of bought sparkling water may be used as a substitute. But hold on a second. I thought your whole business was to tell people how bad bottled water was. Remember I said that at the beginning of the video? Oh, but that don't matter that because we want you to buy the powder to put into something. So, anyways, I'm being facetious, but it's true, right? So you don't be duplicitous is the take home. All right. So again, more upshot here is very simple that you can also go and compare Aquasana's performance to NSF standards and things like that. That particular company, in Pristine Hydro, didn't provide that. They just did an endpoint testing of the water, not their performance standards. And there's a difference. Okay, so not to get in all that, I just want to show that. Now, what does that bring me to? Okay, my example of all of that is it brings me back to certain gentlemen. Okay, so the thing is that an example of that would be a gentleman by the name of Matt Blackburn. I don't know Matt. I'm sure he loves his mama. I don't know nothing about him or his character or that kind of stuff. I'm going on the data that I've been presented for people to actually evaluate. Okay, so here's what I see though. Okay, the first thing I do is listen. I have been in the nutraceutical business for a long, long time. And as soon as I see a product like this and this flat image, which isn't actually a real picture of the product, okay, that tells me some things. But so basically what you have is Matt is a self-proclaimed health and longevity researcher. He tells his story, okay? Here just recently, he got a BA in complementary and alternative health. Great. And he has studied extensively these fields. No, there's no way. Anyways, that's my opinion. But the bottom line here is this is a play to this, guys. Okay, this is what the info space is filled with, are people who go and learn a little something and they parlay it into selling products. That's it, with no context. Okay, that's what this is. Okay. So, to substantiate that, let's look at here. These are the products he sells. Now, here's what's cool. You guys ever want a good aloe? Stockton aloe is actually a very good, very, very, very good aloe. Very good. Okay. So I'm not saying these products don't have thing, but this is a situation where you've got this is just a parlay into selling stuff. That's really all it boils down to. Whether that's bad or good, I'm not saying that. I'm just letting you know what it is. The problem is people like this are all over the place, right? And then when I see stuff like this, I mean, like everybody, this chili pad, that thing is so loud. Oh my God, I had to send it back. You know, it bugged me so much. And this one actually doesn't have the Bluetooth, but the newer one does. But like, here's the thing. But I'm starting to see, listen, EMF reducing underwear. Of course, then you got to get on the light panels and you got to get all the gadgets, gizmos. This is a terrible filter system. It's lame. It doesn't perform very well at all. And then, of course, they get in on the soil-based organisms and the DNA detox, which is all bullcrap too. Zeolite has a premise, but it's very dose dependent. Then it's everybody, of course, sleeping on Magnetico pads, which is not good for people. Okay, I'm telling you right now, this can jack you up. Thousands of dollars later for you to learn that. Now, here's the interesting thing. Okay, now, this is the duplicitousness. I don't think people understand how dumb they come off, okay? So remember, magnesium bicarbonate. That's my whole shtick. That's my jam, right? Okay, so here's what you got. So he even goes so far into why, and this was the big question that one of Balance Nation asked me behind the scenes, and they'll remain nameless. Why you must supplement magnesium. And it's an entire narrative here on supplementing magnesium with no context, okay? Infographics on social media will see he being critical of infographics and stuff too, saying sources are spinach, kale, chocolate, soybeans, pumpkin seeds. You know, what they're completely leaving out is the context of the soil. So, Matt, you do understand about context. Okay, back to this. So, the soil is completely depleted of magnesium. That's not true. Completely? How do you know that? How can you make that claim? Is it possible it's insufficient? Sure. But none of us are going around and testing all the different people's spinach, kale, cacao, and pumpkin seeds. So when you make absolute claims like this is the hallmark of an uneducated individual repeating things to substantiate a particular narrative, okay? So I get it. I mean, but I just think it's too absolute of a statement, you know, and they give, you know, anyways. Then he gets into all of this stuff. They use words like poisoned, you know, and then anyways, and then there's always, you know, the mid 1800s was a famine in Germany, and oh my gosh. Okay, great. But anyways, you keep going. You go through all this. Here's the whole narrative. Here's the thing. I'm ready for a sales pitch, Matt. What supplement do you recommend? None, he says on his blog. But here, watch my video, how to make your own magnesium bicarbonate, okay? Using the soda stream, like we talked about, in magnesium hydroxide. Great, okay? So the bottom line is this. He says, favorite thing about magnesium bicarbonate is it can actually increase carbon dioxide levels in the body, okay? A deficiency of which starves the cells of oxygen and exacerbates tissues like lipid peroxidation, the oxidation of polyunsaturated fats. The body can convert CO2 to HCO3 by carbon, vice versa. Okay, that's true, which is exactly why too much of it can be absolutely harmful to some people. So you just can't say everybody do it. Relatively speaking, if you did about 400, 500, maybe 1,000 milligrams a day in a liter of water, you're pretty good. Fair. But most people, if a little good, a lot's a whole bunch better, right? All right. So he personally says that he consumes 32 ounces of homemade magnesium bicarbonate every day. Do not buy it. Make it at home. Okay, well, hold on a second. You're selling Pristine Hydro. Buy it. Kind of funny. Anyways, so here's the deal on that. So I just want to whip through here just to kind of keep showing you evaluations of stuff for this. But then lo and behold, hey, buy this magnesium right here, MagTech Magnesium, which is magnesium threonate, glycinate, and taurate. Not a bad supplement. But here's the thing. Didn't you just say that all that stuff is bad for Blackburn 15? Anyways, you see what I'm saying, guys? This is the point. So you got to pick your stuff. But then here's the next thing. I want to get into this real quick because I look at these things because I've been in the industry. So this is what we call private label. Okay, this fellow, there's no way, I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go with no way, knows anything about manufacturing supplements, procuring the raw materials. This is private label. You guys can all go and make your own private labels too. Okay, so. Another thing is, this goes with the narrative, and as I understand it, he's a big Ray Peat, you know, all PUFAs are bad, never consume them kind of guy. I'm going to show you guys briefly here in a second because I really want to drive this home today, and a good lesson starting out next month, coming here pretty strong. It's called Dissolve It All. Dissolve It All, okay? So one of the things you get good at after you do things long enough that I have, you start remembering supplement facts panels, okay? So you see this supplement here, systemic enzyme blend of 500 milligrams, proprietary blend of 1500 FU. Now here's the thing, that is the wrong, that's a wrong statement, okay? Because each one of these enzymes have a different designator of actual therapeutic action, okay? Proteases, lipases, amylases, they all have different letters at the end of their particular thing, okay? I'll kind of give you an example. Let me just kind of show you this briefly. I didn't even think to make a slide on this, but I'll show you, okay? Because I don't want to be held as duplicitous. And don't be mad, it's out of stock, okay? So I'm going to show you one of my products, okay? My enzyme product that I've been making for many, many years, okay? But it's out of stock now, because we're doing a whole new overview of a whole bunch of stuff, okay? So one of the things I want you to see, okay, briefly here, so don't go here and try to buy it. See how proteases have HUT units and SAPU units? Lipase is FIP, amylase is DU, cellulase or CU, hemolase is, okay. So in other words, if any enzyme company is really going to be honest, they can't give it to you in milligrams. It doesn't tell you that. It's just like a gallon of gas. Okay, well, what octane? Does that make sense? There's a contextual difference. All right, so don't be impressed by products that I'm showing you here, like this one right here, okay? So, let me come back to it. Okay, so the funny thing also is I go, well, hold on a second. Dissolve It All TM, okay? So one of the things that I also like to do is I went here to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, because most of the time these companies will actually make these supplements and come up with some clever name like this, like Dissolve It All. And if you go here and, okay, so the bottom line is it comes down to there's no trademark for that. So that's just a made up name. So, hold on a second. All right, so all you got to do, if you guys ever want to look up trademarks, you can go to U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. See, I just want to teach you guys how I do stuff and critically think. Oh, come on, stop being silly. Okay, the session, they're really funny, has expired. Okay, anyway, so that's where you go, and you'll go to USPTO, you can go to their trademark database, and you can go to basic word search. You just type in the word, hit there, and there's no records. Okay, so like for instance, if you go, then you do this, and let's see, let's go balance protocol. Oh, look at there. All right, so there's my trademark. Okay, so that's me, guys. Anyways, so I'm just teaching you how to look things up. These are all the little hallmarks and indicators of products that are bullshit, is where I'm going with this, okay? So what I wanted to do is I just want to show you briefly to look at this particular ingredient list, okay? So basically 500 milligrams, 15,000 IU, and it's got CoQ10 and magnesium in it, but guess what? It's not magnesium it's one of those bad magnesiums that them and the water people say you shouldn't be consuming. Okay, but guess what? It's also this product. It's the same product. Okay, so here's another. This is private label. It's the exact same thing, right? So AST enzymes. And again, not a bad profile, but again, this is another product of it. So if you guys want to do that, you can do that. And then here's another product, exact same thing. Okay, so Neprinol. But here's the difference. Look at the pricing. So $79.95. This one is $74.99. Or you can go to Matt and you can buy his for $60 for 90 tablets. All right. So, anyways, just a little exercise in looking some stuff up. So I wanted to look a little bit deeper as people were asking me to evaluate stuff. And so then I get into, of course, protocol. So his is called the CLF protocol. Mine's Balance protocol. So it stands for calcification, lipofuscin, and fibrosis. He says you really should be maximizing ATP cell production, which is, I guess, why he calls his company MitoLife, okay? The bottom line is this is very dogmatic, it's obtuse, and he's making everything bad about PUFAs. That's why I make fun of it. And I tell you, hey, listen, for this weekend, when you do or on the weekends when you watch the Super Bowl and stuff, you want to fry your stuff in peanut oil. So again, the person who asked me this question said, hey, what do you think about the PLF protocol? And I go, well, it's bullshit. So that's my answer. And then one of the other things is the solution is magnesium bicarbonate for everybody. Okay, but then here he says, my favorite form is magnesium chloride topically. But he better talk to his Pristine Hydro folks because they were just bad-mouthing magnesium chloride. So you might want to get together on what your people are saying. That's all I'm saying. Get your narrative right. Then everybody takes Shilajit, right? Well, guess what? He just so happens to have a product for that called Panacea. Okay, now interesting enough, this product here, this is another private label. You can tell by the fake packaging picture, right? That's a hallmark. Also, this label right here is not FDA compliant. So hopefully no one ever turn him into the FDA and say, hey, his supplement facts panel is wrong, because he can get fined for that. So for $50, well, guess what? So he sells it, Biocharge Me, and that kind of fun stuff. So you can see that it's $50, but you can also go on Etsy and buy the same product. Okay, here's when you guys go to Etsy, but you can get 60 for $13.99. And then you can also buy them off of Amazon for $13.99. Okay, so again, same product. It's just, I just want you guys to let you know it's private label. The reason why that's important to differentiate, because there's a lot of clinicians out there that are doing it, especially in the functional medicine space. They'll go to people like Douglas Labs or Thorne, and they'll say, hey, listen, can you put my name on stuff? So, and they'll go like for instance, like Amy Myers, she does it. And there's a whole bunch of them that do it because to them, that's influence. They feel like, I want to show everybody this is my product line. Well, that's, Mercedes doesn't private label. Anyways, the bottom line is I just want people to know that, okay? Because my opinion is if you didn't formulate it, don't put your damn name on it. Don't hold yourself out as that kind of fun stuff, okay? That's the take home on that, okay? So one of the things I wanted you to also see, and then, you know, ignorance begets ignorance. So there's another company that I'm not a fan of. It's called Blue Shield. And Matt sells a bunch of their products, so I guess they're going to be selling his products. And this is another, you know, charlatan type outfit, in my opinion, right? You guys do your due diligence and do it myself, but like myself. But the thing is you got to realize that they sell different products, scalar energy and protecting from EMFs, and they got all the hallmarks of stuff, these blue cubes, and you plug in these things into your walls, and they don't do anything. I'll have the videos on testing all of those coming this year, so stay tuned to that. That'll be fun. But none of these things mitigate your EMF in your environment like the on and off switch, okay? So let me close out some of these windows. And the thing I want you guys to take home here is this. You got to question where your information is coming from, okay? Please don't learn something here in Balance Nation and go out there and regurgitate it and hold yourself out as the author of that, okay? You should give credit where credit is due, number one. Secondly, there's a lot more context that has to be given. The better thing to do is either A, share the information and where it came from in its entirety, or B, if you want to learn to be a practitioner, come learn and train with me. It's expensive because it takes a lot of time. All right? So, no, I'm not a fan of the PLF protocol, okay? Now, what I wanted to do is just real quick here, wrapping this up because these are usually an hour-long video. You can go through Matt's website, okay? It's matt-blackburn.com. He's all out there. He's bold. He probably doesn't give a rat's patootie about my opinion or anything. I mean, that's totally fine. This isn't a bass session. It's just he's just not a caliber of person where you should get your information from, in my opinion, okay? And there's a lot of misinformation. He's come off half-cocked, and he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, okay? He'll make all kinds of statements like that, like omega-3s are not essential for human health and brain development. They're only essential to develop cancer, heart disease, and then, oh my gosh. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you guys something here real quick because that was the other deal. Is this entire narrative of putting down any type of species of fat is an absolute joke, okay? It's an absolute joke. And I've challenged all these folks and told them, here's the reason why. I have done tens of thousands of lipid studies on real people, not rats, not cell line cultures in petri dishes. I'm talking about real people with real stories and backgrounds and context, okay? So one last thing, I'll close some stuff out. And I'm going to show you some stuff. So if you guys want to go and create your own nutraceutical line or get private label, all you got to do is go over to npanational.org, okay? So this is the Natural Products Association. This is and there's tons of them in Utah. So basically, you can come here, you can become a member, and you can get connected with all kinds of distributors, people that import all the crap from China real cheap for you, and then they'll put you in touch with the people who can make labels for you and bottles and all kinds of stuff. Now, I will tell you, though, it's going to cost you tens of thousands and tens of thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, okay? All right. This is why most people will just buy a product that's already been manufactured, put into a bottle, and then they'll just put their sticker on it. So they don't have to do all that buying power and stuff, okay? All right, so let's see here. My wife's trying to call me. All right, so bang, bang. All right, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you guys a couple of things in parting, and then I'll answer all your questions that are here in the feed, okay? What I wanted to show you real quick is the difference. So what I want you to do is I want you to look right about here, okay? And I'm going to give you an example of some of the stuff that I do when it comes to patients, okay? So this was a patient, Aaron, and this was all the way back in August of 2017. So this is the type of workups. Now, I can't give you guys a long dissertation on this. It takes a lot of context, but you can see in here that there's all kinds of different markers that we look at, right? So you can see this person's actually in fast oxidation. The mitochondria is a little bit off. B vitamin status is off, neurotransmitters. Anyways, so what I wanted to do is I'm just going to pump over here real quick to the fatty acid profile of this particular person, okay? And what you'll notice is up there in the arachidonic acid side, so these are omega-3s, you'll see that arachidonic acid is relatively elevated on the high end of normal. Here's the shocker. This is what everybody needs to understand. You ready? Your body will always have omega-3s, 6s, 9s, saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and trans fats. That's right, your body even makes trans fats. So all these people who are demonizing these, saying the body doesn't, then why is it hardwired into your DNA to manufacture every one of the omega and fat species? You will always have them in there. Now, I agree in the argument. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean you want to overconsume one or the other. Just like you don't want to overconsume PUFAs, you don't want to overconsume the MUFAs and the saturated fats. It's just not, see what I'm saying? It's context, 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 okay? Then the next thing is, if we go through here and we can take a look at this person's thing. I can't tell you the whole guy's story, but I just wanted to show you something here briefly. So in the course of the events, this particular person was on the low end of magnesium, not really the best. But what I wanted to show you, okay, was in a subsequent one that we actually did 4 months later. I want you to look at something here, okay? I want you to see what happens to fats when we shift them. Okay, we played with some things and we shifted a little bit higher, okay? And he began to eat differently. And so you see there's some shifts. There's a lot of these markers in here that will change based upon eating food. Your amino acids, your fatty acids, your vitamins, your minerals, and things like that. We actually drove him into fast oxidation a little bit more. But let me show you this one here. So this one is actually in a year later. Well, you see that mercury amount right there? That came from eating salmon. Okay, all he ate was salmon. Okay, and you can see what will happen is look up there at the omega-3s, what they did. See how they went off the charts all the way left? What's that number over there? 13 or something like that? Okay, so this was all salmon. This was a controlled, because I work with patients to actually do this stuff, and then we Q square M square. This is the Q square M square. So I got into an argument on Instagram with the father of fraud, Dave Asprey, about that, because he was telling everybody, well, the thing is salmon and anchovies, don't have, anyways. The bottom line is if you do eat more fish, okay, you will have your mercury go up. So all the people that will tell you that doesn't happen, it's not true. But what I'm telling you is it's not necessarily a bad situation. And there's a lot of practitioners out there who will do a test like this, see that mercury, and they will instantly want to start chelating you. Do not listen to them. Get out of their office and run. Because if you know Balanced Protocol, if you don't, go to Balanced Protocol Prime and take the course, you'll learn that detoxification always comes last. But as we try to eat healthy things, we will create consequences. That's the take home here on this particular thing, okay? So we kept going with this particular patient, and this was, of course, about every 5 to 6 months, we relook at these. So then what we did is you could see that it actually, by overshooting the omega-3s, we actually tore down the omega-6s. So this person right here actually is under-inflamed. Okay, you can't have deficiencies in omega-6s and it be a good thing. You can't. This person couldn't heal. All right, it was a very, very rough time. You can see the mercury, continue to rise, and look there, it dropped the magnesium right out. Okay, so without getting into all the stuff here, let's wrap this up. Here's my point. Don't do what these Insta experts are doing. Okay, and what is that? They'll learn one thing, like the things I just told you here, and give you what I call an orgasm. Oh, the orgasm, right? And then you'll go, oh man, that's amazing. It's the red pill. Dr. Morpheus just woke me up. So I'm going to go out there and tell everybody. That's what Matt Blackburn did when he got a dose of Repeat. And now he also sells another product, which is just a vitamin E spectrum, okay? So don't do that with Balanced Protocol, okay? Listen, Enviro is just the first key. There's a lot more down there. It takes years to get it all. The bottom line is that doesn't mean don't proceed with learning some stuff. Just don't come off half-cocked. Don't start a podcast, write a book, start going to some of these mind summits and doing all these other things, or then go on the podcast tour and tell everybody that you know this and pick your niche as one of the things that you might be learning here. Don't do it. That's what these guys like Matt Blackburn do, okay? And they don't like to be challenged, and that's fine. I like I said, nothing personal. It's probably could be a very lovely guy, but I'm actually being nice. I've seen some of his interactions and stuff like that, and he's not, in my opinion. But the bottom line here is I just want to show you guys what I do for my patients behind the scenes and how much time and research and crime scene investigation I put into stuff when you guys ask me a question. Because I never come off half-cocked. I do my due diligence, I do my research, and I want you to raise your standard and do that also. And then ultimately, though, no matter what I say or another company says, whether they're selling dietary supplements or water systems or EMF underwear, okay, you have to Q square M square. If you ever have any hope in hell or heaven, for that matter, of resolving a chronic condition, you can't do it by the N=1 experiment that has no quantification. All these mitochondria people aren't even looking at your mitochondrial metabolites. Let me show you that for a second, okay? Look, let me show you something, okay? See right here in energy metabolism, this is the citric acid cycle, okay? All the way from, citric acid all the way down to HMG, all right? Which oxalate and everything. In other words, this is what it looks like, okay? That cycle right there. If this happens in the mitochondria and you want to know what your electron chain transport is doing, but you're not at least testing it, what in the world? So if you have a mitochondriac say something about mitochondria and at the same breath they don't say you must test your mitochondrial metabolites with biomarkers, you can get your information somewhere else. It took me an hour to break this down for you, right? That normally costs about $1,200. So you guys get it for free. Hope you appreciate it. I know you do. I'm being facetious. But I get excited about these because I want you guys to know there's greater information. You'll always get it here. If you want more information, you're going to have to pony up for it. You're either going to have to stop the Google searches and work with a competent practitioner, or you're going to have to purchase courses such as Balanced Protocol and Viro. Okay? If you're going to learn these things, don't get it from these self-proclaimed supposed experts who have no context. That is always a ploy to just send you to all their shop. Go to my website and see if there's a shop. No, there's not. Okay? You guys ever see me advertising products in Balance Nation? No. Now, do I sell products? Yes, as context, or if you're part of my, if you're one of my patients. Okay? Or if I sell a program. Okay? So that's the dissertation. Let's take a look and see what people are saying in here on the questions. All right. So let's go. Boop. Hey, Bart. Hustler Day. That's right. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Velda. Glad you were here live. Carlos. Love you. Yeah, Mark. Matt. Kind of crazy. Hey, Heather. What's up? And, of course, Noah always asks the questions. Can you go into why municipal water wouldn't have acid rain? Well, because there's no... municipal water by default is collected and it goes through their processing and flocculation and dechlorinization and then rechlorinization and all kinds of fun stuff, and they twist it all out, okay? So whether it's wells, rivers, lakes, or whatever. So yeah, but here's the thing. That system isn't for well water, okay? That's the difference. So you got to understand what I'm talking about when it comes like that. So no, you're not putting acid rain into your water supply. No one's drinking acid rain unless you're collecting rain and drinking it. Okay? Well, Clarissa, there you go. You've been asking me to address it. People ask me, and keep asking me, guys. If you want me to evaluate something, it's not the person, because I'm not giving my opinion on the person. I'm talking about their shtick, their narrative, their propaganda. Just like I got my narrative, my shtick, my form of crazy, my propaganda. Okay? Grounding mats are bad. Oh boy, Dustin. Yeah, go to the rest of the thread and do that. Glad you like my Star Wars collection. That's great. May the Force be with you. Andy says, I'm only 2 lessons into the air module and Enviro2.0 and my head is really hurting. You're welcome. I warned you. It's good stuff. I'm glad to have you on board. Blue Shield has nothing but anecdotal evidence. That's true. The whole scalar thing, it's terrible. Dustin, if you take the Enviro course, you'll know the answer to green waves and things like that. Yes, dirty electricity, green wave filters are helpful if you need them. If you don't have excessive body voltage, you don't need them. Okay? But if you do want them, I think I have an affiliate link in there. But just don't go buying a bunch of green wave filters and sticking them in places. Okay? I'll give an example. I got one right here. Okay, this one is plugged in right here by me. Why is that? Because my desk is near a plug, which I power lights. So that means the electricity is going to flow. okay? Well, that electricity flowing can push in excess body voltage. I didn't want to be having excess body voltage while I sit here and show you guys the love. So there's still a little bit, okay, because I didn't flip the power switch on, but I have a dirty electricity on it. So I use one of these Greenway filters to actually make sure that body voltage that's on me is not dirty. Okay, you learn about that in the Enviro course. Okay, Christine. She says, what are your thoughts on Cellcore Biosciences line? It's bullshit. It's crap. That's my thought. Paul Roy, Magnetico, everything contextually appropriate? Nope, not at all. On rare occasions would I recommend anybody use the Magnetico pad. I'm surprised also to say it is usually bad, assuming good, but okay, whatever that means. Do I get bad karma if I try to sell my Magnetico? No, hey, listen, listen, guys, it's not I'm not out here to just bust everybody's chops or to do that. I'm not a myth buster. I hate that term. I'm just educate, motivate, and inspire. That's my motto. Okay. Question about Thursday. No, that's not in context. I'm not going to answer that question right now. Pregger's questions. Yes, Mark, you've been asking me about pregnancy stuff. We're already an hour long in this video. I'll do you one, I promise. How about that? I'm giving my word to the whole nation that, Mark, I will talk to you about things for pregnant women, okay? All right, well, that's all the questions, guys. Check that out. We did it, all right? Hope you guys learned some things. The bottom line here is, guys, is just know where your information's coming from. Check the math. Learn to critically think. Be careful of the hawkers, the experts, and the people who pick the niches. I've said these a million times. Raise your standard. Invite people into Balance Nation. We can only do this together. You know, Balance Protocol is a movement, and people need to know more about it. I rely upon you guys to do it. I love you all. And at the end of the day, you guys are why I do it. I feel like I'm accepting my speech up there from my award, from whatever. But no, it's totally true, guys. That's what it all is. Now, I will tell you this. One of the things that does help, and truth be told, I'll be a little vulnerable. Just had to write about $35,000 in attorney's fees checks because I got, lawsuits for doing what I'm doing. So guess what? I do this at risk. It costs me tens of thousands of dollars to protect from stuff like that. This is why, I will always include these disclosures in the videos. These disclaimers, okay? So that way you guys can realize, all of this stuff is my opinion and so forth. I do fair use proclamations. So that way if I use another website or somebody's product, you know why I'm doing it. All right. So upshot is this. Today, I think, is getting ready to be the last day of the month. We got 2 more days. And just as a reminder, the introductory price for Balance Protocol Enviro 2.0 is going to go to its regular price out to the public and things like that in just a couple days. So if you haven't invested the big fat price, okay, of over $2,000, I really encourage you to help me pay my legal expenses. No, seriously, because I want you guys to know so you can realize what you're up against. So you guys don't ask all these questions. I go, it's in the program, it's in the program, it's in the program. So, yep, I am Velda. It's true. Got 2 of them right now. All right, guys. Love you bunches. Hang in there. I got the other videos coming. It's going to be a fun 2020, you guys. Live life in balance. Raise your standard.